This is the third video of the basic math series. If you haven't watched the first two, I would recommend going back and watching those because we're going to be building on those ideas in this video. All right, let's go ahead and expand a little bit more. So we've started with y equals x, so we understand how our x variable and our y variable interact. We've added our slope, which is our m, and we've seen how that can change our lines. Now let's go ahead and add our b, which is our y-intercept. Remember, our b is our y-intercept. All right, and as we add our b, this will be a simple one. We're just going to do y equals x, or maybe 1x if you want to do it that way, plus b, and we'll use 1 for b. Okay, so the only difference between this and our original equation, our y equals x, is we're just adding a b. So let's go ahead and see what that does. Let's do the same plots. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's start with 1. 1x times 1 is 1, plus 1 is 2. Okay, see how I did that? X is 1 times 1 is 1, and then you add b. So 1 plus 1 equals 2. Okay, so if x is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 4 times 1 plus 1 is 5, right? And now let's go ahead and plot these. Okay, so 1 is 2, 2 is 3, 3 is 4, 4 is 5. All right. And now with this one, let's add one more spot. Let's say x equals 0. So if x equals 0, 0 times anything is 0. So this is 0 plus 1 equals 1. So our y equals 1. Now let's see what we have here. So remember, our x is 0 on the y-axis. So on the y-axis is 0. So this spot right here would be 0. So 0, 1 is this point right here. And now we see what b does. So what did b do here? All b did was take y equals x, and it just shifted the line up. Okay, so think about that. Our b, all it does is it is where it intercepts our y, and our b shifts up your line. So if your line is y equals x, and your new line is y equals x plus 1, all it does is it shifts everything up one spot. Okay, let's go ahead and clear everything out, and then we'll do a quick overview of everything we've gone through. We've cleared everything out, and we just have a quick, simple line to go over our different variables with. So our slope, or our m, if our m changes, that rotates our line. And what do I mean by rotate? If you get a steeper m, remember, if you get a bigger m and your curve becomes steeper, it rotates up. It gets steeper, right? If you have a smaller m, your line rotates down. Okay, see that? So if these are the same lines, the only thing that changes is our m. The only thing different between these things is the slope. Okay, so what happens if we add our y-intercept or a b? Well, it's going to shift up or down, right? It's going to shift. So it's the same line. The only thing different is it moves it up or down. So your slope, your m, rotates, and your b shifts. All right, so now that we kind of understand how all of this works together, let's go ahead and add one more different equation that we have not gone over yet. Okay, now that we have everything cleared out, let's go over one more equation that we can see. And this is going to be y equals, and our slope is going to be negative. So our slope is going to be negative x plus, and we're going to use 4 for our y-intercept for our b. Okay, so we're going to use 4, which will make things easier, but let's go ahead and focus on the negative 1 here. So if we think about our other curves that we plotted, they all had a slope that was going upward, right? They all sloped upwards. So they all were something like this, and they were all positive. So our negative is going to be a downward sloping curve. And let's go ahead and plot these. Let's go ahead and do 0, 1, 2, and a 3. Okay. So 0 times anything is 0, plus 4 is 4. 1 times the negative 1 is negative 1, and negative 1 plus 4 is 3. 2 times the negative 1 is negative 2, plus 4 is 2. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, plus 4 is 1. So let's go ahead and plot these. So 0, 4 is right here. 1, 3, 2, 2, and 3, 1. So if we make our curve here, it's going to be something like this, right? And this is downward sloping. This is a downward sloping curve. So if we think about this, as our x variable increases, our y variable decreases. Okay, and it's very important in economics. There's a lot of different things that we work through in economics where increasing something will decrease the dependent variable. Remember, we're going back to independent dependent variables. If our independent x variable increases, our dependent y variable decreases. And that's important. We see it a lot in economics. And as you work through economics and look at different models and graphs and things like that, you'll kind of see it. So it's fairly specific in economics. So it's very good to go over and understand that if your m or your slope is negative, it's downward sloping. If it's positive, it's upward sloping. So before we end this video, let's go ahead and we'll just sum everything up, put everything together, because we have gone over quite a bit of stuff. Y equals mx plus b is our slope-intercept form. And we can use this to plot points and find our lines on a graph. So if we go through each of these, y is our y variable, and our y variable is dependent on our x variable. M is the slope. So M is the slope of our line. As M increases, our slope gets steeper. As M decreases, our slope gets flatter. M rotates our line. If we look at x, x is our x variable, and it is independent. So the difference between x and y, x, we get to choose our variable. So x is used to find y. And last is our b. And b is our y-intercept. And b shifts our line. So our slope, our m rotates, and our b shifts. So we'll go ahead and end there for this video. And hopefully you picked up a few things here and there. If something doesn't make sense, go back and rewatch it. And the more you look at these equations and the more you work with them, the better you're going to understand it. Go ahead and subscribe so you can see when the next videos come up. And I'll go ahead and add my links if you want to go ahead and check those out. Thanks.